Good morning. My name is Amy Washam, and I am with Northwest Missouri State University in Kansas City. I'm also a member of the Northland Education and Business Alliance, or as we call it, NEBA. NEBA is a network of education and business organizations in Clay and Platte Counties. The vision is to promote and provide business-driven educational opportunities for you, our next generation of business leaders. I'll be your host during this session. We have the opportunity for you today to use the Q&A function throughout the session if you would like to pose questions to our panelists. Just a few quick notes before we begin. The session will run for 40 minutes, and then our industry experts will begin by sharing their professional history and insight, but we want this to feel more like a conversation, so feel free to use the Q&A function. We will get to as many questions as we possibly can. And when the session ends, please take the opportunity to complete a short survey. This will give us feedback about how to make the events better in the future. Also, a recording of the session will be available on NEBA's YouTube channel in the future. So if we would like to go ahead and get started, I would like for our panelists to take an opportunity to discuss their professional background and anything else and insights. Sarah, would you like to go first?
Sure. Thanks, Amy, so much for having me, and hello to all of you young leaders out there. My name is Sara Freetly, and I'm with Candid Marketing. I am one of the partners of the firm. I have been actually doing this for about 14 years with Candid, but I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that at this point in time in my life that I would own my own company. So my adventure to get here was not straight to, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to high school, go to college, and then start my own business. I actually went to school at UCM. I have a degree in public relations. I graduated from there in 1999, which is hard to believe that it is that long ago at this point in time in my life. But when I was in school, I actually went to college having no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. I thought I wanted to be an attorney. Probably changed my major about 6 times between my freshman and sophomore years until my older sister, who was also at UCM at the time, was in the public relations program. And she kept saying, you should take a PR class. You should take a PR class. You'll probably like PR. And I kept saying, I don't want to follow exactly in your footsteps. It's bad enough I'm at the same college as you. I don't want to be in the same major as you as well. Well, much to my chagrin, I took the PR class and fell in love with it. And so from my sophomore year on, that was what I was going to be when I grew up. Now, what that meant, I had no idea. So as I started going through public relations classes and all kind of learning all the nuances of it, I figured the best way for me to get my feet wet was to start doing internships. So I did a couple of internships, the first of which was at Worlds of Fun, which was an amazing opportunity. We did so many things outside of PR that it was just unbelievably crazy and fun. And one of them was I had to dress up as Papa Bear at the Berenstain Bears camp area several times throughout the summer as filling in for the full-time Papa Bear. So that was an enjoyable time, 85 degrees in a giant bear costume. But PR is kind of that. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Nothing really, ever the same day twice. So from there, I decided I wanted to get into the public relations agency world, which I ultimately stuck with almost basically the rest of my career, because here I am now owning my own basically marketing and public relations agency. So when my sister started Candid in 2005, I figured, what the heck? I can help write freelance press releases on the side. I can do some work here and there. I was living in North Carolina at the time, and she said, that's great if you can help me. And all of a sudden it kind of started snowballing. And soon enough, there was enough work for both of us to go full time. So in 2007, I joined Candid full time, and I've been here ever since. So kind of how I got to owning a marketing company.
Awesome story. Thank you for sharing. Kylie, would you like to dive into a little bit about you and your professional background? I think you're muted. Sorry.
Of course. I tried to mute and it came back to get me. Yeah, thanks for having me. So my name's Kylie Nichols, and I own Nickel and Suede. We're an accessories company. We make leather jewelry. And my similar is not too different from Sarah's. I went to high school in Liberty. I loved art. I liked a lot of different things. I liked English. I liked nutrition. And so when I went to college, I thought I'd major in art. got scared out of the art program and decided, oh, I'm going to try something else. So I tried a bunch of classes to see what I was interested in, a little of everything. And I found, okay, nope, don't want to do English, don't want to do this. And I ended up in nutrition. So that was my, like, I almost have a minor in chemistry for no good reason. So we, after college, I moved to Seattle with my husband, and we had 2 little boys. And I really just was feeling kind of lost after college. Like, I didn't have a career, but I loved school and I loved learning. And so I was just kind of spinning. And so that's when I ended up starting my first Etsy shop, which was the beginning of Etsy. I had never sold anything online before. I had never taken photos of something to try to sell it. I'd never written copy to try to make something appealing. And so it was really my first stab at marketing, and it was really exciting. And I loved learning just all the new things about it. And so we sold belts for little boys for a few years. We made little tiny leather belts for like 3-month-olds. They were super cute, but it's a really small market for that kind of product. And so, but it was a fun way to like get started and just like learn how to sell things on the internet. And so then we moved back to Kansas City, and we started making other things that would just like, okay, well, let's try making these like growth charts that were really trendy, or I made like little neckties. And so I just was having a lot of fun creating and selling on the internet, and started a fashion blog and learned a lot about selling myself and like showing clothing and selling those things. So I kind of got my marketing experience trial by fire. Instagram started then. And so just figuring out, gosh, what is social media for? And how does it work with selling? I started the blog. How does blogging relate to selling and getting a presence on the internet? So that was kind of my, early years. And then in 2014, we started Nickel and Suede. I was used to making a lot of my own accessories or changing my outfits. And so I made a pair of earrings out of leather that looked like metal, and had this like aha moment of, oh my gosh, this product could really do amazing things. Like, it's nothing like anyone's ever seen before. And so we were able to start that company. My husband quit his job, and we started that in 2014. I did not think I was going to be a CEO. I love designing product, and I really do love the marketing side. So since then, I've had to learn about leadership and managing people, and covering the whole company instead of just wanting to focus on the creative. So here we are, almost 8 years in. We have 3 retail stores. We have an online business, and almost 50 employees. And so I did not think that would be my future at all. We also have 5 little boys at home. I thought I was going to be a mom and do my creative stuff on the side. But I'm a mom, and I do a creative job. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
That's a wonderful story. I appreciate the fact that you can be both of you can be super successful women in our local economy, and still have your family lives and those that you love, and making time for them as well. So Sarah, would you like to kind of start off and let us know, what does your normal day look like, if there is a normal day?
That's actually a fun question, because that's why I love what I do so much, because really no 2 days are ever the same. And as much as I can start a day with a plan, 9 times out of 10, that plan does not come to life, because something happens. I either have to put out a fire with a client request, or I've got to, do something else that completely sidetracked me, or my email goes down and I have to figure out how to get that fixed, or any number of things. But most of the time I am in my home office. We are a small firm. There's 3 of us. And so when the pandemic hit, we let go of our office space. And so now we work remotely full time, which works out really well, because the 3 of us have all worked together. Our designer who's on our team has been with us for, I think, almost 13 years now. So we all work really well together, and we collaborate very well. So usually my day starts with kind of getting up, looking at our project management system to see what's on my list for that day, kind of prioritize things. And then we have a team call every morning that we just kind of get on Zoom, and we just chat about who's got what happening, who needs to help the other with what we need to do. And then kind of from there, it's off and running to whatever I need to be doing. So it could be anything from running the back end of the business and, billing and dealing with, kind of all of the financial side of it, to writing an email blast for a client, to doing research for a brand for a client, to writing proposals to try to win new clients and new work, to pretty much anything and anything, you can think of in the marketing space. So every day is a little bit different. And then, a lot of different networking events as things have started to open up, boards that I'm involved with, participating in those kinds of things. But really every day is just a different balance of working on, I touch probably 5 to 6 clients each day. Just kind of a variety of different fun, interesting tasks.
Wonderful, thanks. Kylie, what does your typical day look like? You kind of alluded to it briefly about how it moves much more bigger than just the creative side.
Yeah. So, like I said, I have a lot of kids at home. So, I've been fortunate enough to figure out how to, try to balance that. So I get up and exercise and work, get kids ready to go. And then I come to the office. So we have a headquarters. I cannot get any work done at home because I have lots of little kids at home. So some people work remote a little bit from our office, and some come in. We make and produce all of our earrings here at our headquarters. So we always have a team that comes in so there's their need to manage that. And since it's a physical product, there's a lot of collaborating that happens. So I'm mostly really involved with the product development team and then marketing. And then I have a right-hand gal that kind of helps oversee the operations of the business. So that's the shipping and the customer service and all the things. So I, every day is different, but I try to have every Tuesday look pretty similar. So today I have one-on-one meetings with each of my leaders during the week. I have a call with a mentor every Tuesday afternoon. So that's really helpful for business strategy. We have meetings every week where we talk about what new products are we coming out with, and let's review them, and let's get summer ready to be passed off to the rest of the team so they can make it. We'll have a photo shoot probably once a month. And so I'll get to be involved with that. I do the makeup for the photo shoots, which is really fun for me, but I also do the final approval of how does the whole look come together, and do I like the shot. I review emails that the creative team puts together, and then I sign off on. So in my role now, I do a lot of signing off on things, or a lot of final, here's my input, and then we'll finish it, which is really nice. But it hasn't always been that way. I mean, I've made the earrings, I've shipped the earrings, I've taken the product photos of the earrings myself. So through the whole process of being an entrepreneur, which I'm sure Sarah, it's gosh, you do everything. And then eventually you get to have people who can help you, and then you try to help them get better at their jobs. So, yeah.
You both have touched on this briefly, but I was wondering if we could dig in a little bit deeper on what you feel the most valuable or essential transferable skills someone should have if they were considering a career in marketing. So those things that kind of carry with you. Some people call them soft skills or durable skills. So Sarah, what do you think would be the most beneficial?
I think there's a lot, but I think just in general, you have to be pretty resilient and be able to roll with the punches, and be able to know that it's not going to be a set routine. It's not a set schedule. Even though I'm big on keeping my schedule manageable, keeping my calendar reasonable, every now and then I have to rein it back in because, sometimes you're overbooked and overscheduled. So I think just being resilient and knowing and adventurous, you have to kind of want things to be different, and you kind of want to maybe thrive on chaos a little bit. If that could be a positive thing, I tend to think it is. And then I think just, communication is, no matter what business you get into, no matter what life path you choose, no matter what career, communication is always, always, always important, whether it's verbal communication, whether it's written communication, we're always communicating somehow. So making sure that you just are a strong communicator, and that you are open to, taking constructive criticism, and you can communicate, whether it's good, bad, have open dialogue with your team, with your manager, with your coworkers, with your mentor, with your supervisor, with, people that you manage. Just communication is always important. And then in our world, attention to detail is also really critical because we're talking about, putting out marketing materials, putting websites, emails, social media. So grammar, spelling, detail oriented, proofreading, you can't proofread things enough. So just paying attention to detail is always really important too.
I know for sure whenever it comes to the proofreading, I'm like, I need somebody else's eyes on this, like before I send it.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
To a big audience.
Yes, it's amazing the security you feel when somebody else looks at it. Especially for me, if I'm the one that wrote it, I'm too close to it. I'm going to overlook something. So we always have a second, sometimes third set of eyes on things. And so sometimes with the fast-paced world that we're in, sometimes if we forget that, then it comes back and it bites us in the butt. It's like, and that's why we always have somebody else look at it, because you just never know and you don't want to have egg on your face.
Yeah, and we read with that intention that's in our mind, but did that get down in words? It's always the big question. So Kylie, what do you think are some of those essential or transferable skills that are most valuable?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo all of those for sure. I was just, yesterday, one of our team members brought up that one of our earrings had been photographed wrong and no one had caught it. And it was just this like simple, like they'd been flipped and no one caught it till, so the attention to detail is really important, especially with running a website, with launching product, with like customers read all the words. And if you don't have them right, I was thinking like time management, just being able to really manage your time. Communication is important to be able to manage people, which is something eventually you'll have to do. Taking feedback. Like she said, thriving in chaos. I think being open to change, like things are always changing. And so you have to be like excited about that and really curious and interested in testing. Okay, well, what does that mean? And like, if we do this, what happens here? And I mean, marketing, social media, like customer shopping habits, just like none of that stays the same. It changes and there's nothing we can do about it. COVID escalated some of those things, and other time it's just, that's just what happens. It changes. The other thing I was thinking that I've been surprised with marketing is how data driven it's become, and that Excel is super important, and being able to read numbers and understand what happens and what the business results are, like how much money did it make or how many people saw it, like being able to translate those results is so important. You kind of can't just be creative anymore. You have to also be able to say, and here's what my creativity did. And that's hard because lots of us creative brains, that's not our first nature, but it's like so important. So I think being able to be strategic, which I would not have known what that meant in high school, or like looking at the numbers and saying, gosh, what do these numbers mean? It's so important whether you own your own business or you're working for somebody who owns a business, because at the end of the day, businesses need to make money and they're spending money on you somehow. So that's been surprising to me because it's not my first nature. So
I would be very curious as we're preparing the future students, if everyone's going to have to start taking some like data analytics or some sort of statistical analysis class, because I too have found that there's so many more decisions that are being made in different capacities. And it's not just dollars and cents. I mean, you mentioned that with your audience and your impact and the views and that sort of thing. This kind of also leads into something else you both had mentioned. Things are changing and the research component. Could you each give maybe an example or two of how you perform or do research within your industry? Just like a small example, and even just to the extent of what that looks like and how much time that would take. Sarah?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends. Right now, we are finishing up putting together a community brand for a city in Missouri, and that's a whole different animal. So we spend months upon months doing research, actual, in-person focus groups and key messaging sessions and meetings. We have online surveys that they come, that residents and business owners can go to a portal to collect information. We do We push all of that out on social media. So the communication component of trying to get the word out that we're soliciting people's input. So there's a ton of research that goes into that kind of feet on the street. And then on other projects, we do a lot of online research, just kind of on the back end of things, trying to determine what the right use of media channels is, whether it's Google Analytics, Google pay-per-click, Google search engine marketing, paid advertising, those kind of things. So there's kind of a varying level of research components depending on what client and what project and what type of work we're doing.
Kylie?
Yeah, I think it's similar. We survey our customers. That's one way we can get like concrete information. And then so we'll do that like once a year. And then we have a group, like a focus group, that's kind of our ideal future customer that will also survey and just try to understand more about all the customer groups that we're trying to serve. And then a lot of small data. So, customer service collects a lot of data. And so just trying to say like, well, what actual feedback did you get in your inbox, or what did we see on social media? So just the small data is like the little comments that add up to an overall impression of what's the, what's happening, what are people thinking and feeling. And then, yeah, I mean, for us as a fashion brand, we have lots of subscriptions to different magazines, and WWD, which is, it's like the industry of fashion, just trying to learn about what's happening in fashion and then in marketing and all those things through the institutions that kind of put out that information.
I would imagine trend analysis is probably very interesting. I can see just diving in that rabbit hole and not coming out for a while.
Yeah, and you can do you can go as easy as Pinterest, or it's amazing. There's really expensive paid services that'll like put it right in your inbox. What's going to be trending in 2 years in this season, but that costs a lot of money. So you kind of figure out, gosh, what can we afford and how much time is it going to take? Because even just putting together a big comprehensive customer survey that isn't biased and that kind of gets you all the answers you want, like it's a science. It's really not that easy to do. So it does take a lot of thought and time to put them together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Sarah, you had talked about your background, your educational background. When you think about those courses or certifications or degrees, whether you're hiring someone into your agency, or even just highlighting a few things you found super valuable in your education, what would you recommend someone look into if they were interested in an agency type environment?
I would say, as things have changed so much, clearly back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was no social media. There was barely an internet, which seems crazy, but I won't even go into physically clipping out news clippings and how we had to do analytic reports back then versus today. There are so many online tools at our disposal. I think that's for sure going to just be the wave of the future. So any sort of Google certification that you can get your hands on, any sort of just online learning for, social media, blogging, WordPress, Squarespace, any kind of website, online tool. I think anything you can learn about that and understand about that is going to be invaluable for this sector of the market, along with and probably numerous other types of careers. But yeah, I would say any kind of online, classes that you can get your hands on that that get you learning some of these newer tools would be just super helpful.
Kylie, what do you think? What are some things that you have found valuable, or that you find are valuable in people you hire, or even things that you really would recommend now that, like Sarah mentioned, the nature of education is continuously evolving?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with her 100%. The things that our team right now, like they have college degrees, but they're also taking like courses or watching webinars, and it's like how staying up to speed on it. So if you're in high school or college, you can take all of these classes about e-commerce business, and like there's so many things you can learn that put you ahead. I think even like classes or courses about Instagram and like TikTok, and just like there are people out there putting really good content together that is more than just, it's like, oh, I use it, so I think I know it, but like there's so much more to the strategy and understanding behind the scenes. Also just writing classes. I think my writing classes, being able to write emails and letters and put content, you know, PR needs a lot of like quotes and things and questions answered from me. And so like being able to thoughtfully and put down my thoughts, it has come back to help me quite a bit. So I'm thinking if you're, you know, courses in writing and then business courses, Excel. I did not work very hard on my Excel course in college. I just kind of skated through it and I don't remember anything about it. And so like I can, you know, plink around in there, but it's not even close to like if I'm trying to put something together, it's really hard. So I, you know, Excel, writing, business, and then just any of the courses in this online stuff.
Wonderful, wonderful advice. So both of you have this entrepreneurial background, or you've come into the ground level of your companies. And so if you wanted to spotlight someone within your organization or yourself and kind of give us an idea of the trajectory of career in the industry, so promotion opportunities, you know, and what people need to think about to get to that next level. Did they need those courses or trainings or something of that nature? Sarah, you had kind of mentioned earlier about freelance. Do you want to kind of touch on what that world is like and then how you can kind of spin upward from there?
Yeah, so freelancing, I think, was the precursor to all these side hustles, right? People have side hustles now. Well, that used to be considered freelancing. So you would do a project on the side and charge a fee or an hour rate or whatever it happened to be. So my business actually is basically a giant freelancer, right? So we do marketing for various organizations. So we have, like I said earlier, at any given time, 8 to 10 to 12 active clients. And the projects we do for them could vary. They do vary in scope and size and everything. So that's kind of what makes our life interesting. So at one point I said, you know, we're a team of 3 now. At one point, I think we had about 12 folks on our team, and that was a lot of people managing, and that's a whole different world and a whole different ball game. And as we kind of, our business evolved, we decided that just wasn't the path for Candid any longer. But when we did have folks on board, we had a great mix of different levels of account service, project managers, graphic designers, creative team members, kind of some administrative folks. So kind of a good mix of people. And so within kind of the marketing PR agency world, there is a ton of opportunity, a ton of growth. And Kansas City, strangely enough, is a hotbed for that industry. There are a lot of really large advertising, marketing, public relations firms in Kansas City, which I've never known why, but it's kind of an interesting, you know, component to this, you know, community. So there are tons of opportunities for promotions. There are tons of opportunities to start at a ground level and work your way up. I think just, you know, rolling up your sleeves, being a team player, hard work, being part of a team, wanting to learn. I think those are all ways that you can work your way up and be promoted in this industry, along with probably any other industry. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of opportunities and a lot of upward mobility in the marketing world.
Thank you. Kylie, you kind of started us off with Etsy. You kind of started it with Etsy, and then look at you now. So, you know, what would you like to add to your story about, you know, opportunities for promotion and advice?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you start your own business, you can promote yourself as fast as you want to. But you get to do all the jobs that you promote yourself to. But no, we have a marketing team, and it's looked a little bit different over the years. So that's been great for me to learn and see kind of what we need. But we had an intern that started, I want to say 2 years ago, and she was finishing her MBA. And so just wanted some internship experience with marketing and with the team. And she finished her schooling, and then she stuck with us and we hired her as a marketing assistant. And so she's, during her internship, she was just like a sponge. Like, I'll just do a little bit of everything. Like, just teach me everything and just make yourself really useful and do a really good job at anything they ask you to do. And then, you know, her real specialty was copywriting, which was great. We didn't have that as a superpower on our team till she came on. And so she does all of our copywriting, but then she also does like just a little bit of helping everybody, including our marketing director. So that's been cool to see, and just kind of understand what she wants to do eventually is be a consultant. And so we're going to help her just learn everything she can about the whole team and how the marketing team works. But we have, I know, a social media gal who started as our community manager in social media, and then we've since promoted her and added influencer management on to her job. And so now she also manages relationships with all the influencers, and that's been cool for her to grow into. Our e-commerce girl, we have marketing we have our website managed by our marketing team. And so she started as just kind of operating the website, and now she's been promoted to do more merchandising, and so make more like strategic decisions, like, gosh, where should we put this on the site, and how do we get people to click through more times? And so there's always, I think, another skill you can take on. You just have to, you know, make it known that you want to take on more. And then the more you learn, the better chance you have of being able to, you know, push through towards whether it's management or whether it's just specializing in something you really love. So.
Awesome. So here's the big hard question. What do you love most about what you do? So Sarah, would you like to tackle that one first? I think you're still muted, sorry.
I thought I clicked myself off, but no. Okay. It's the people. We have amazing clients, and we just have great, we get to interact with awesome people and awesome clients and do some really cool things for them. And we have clients that have been with us for years and years and years. So it's like we're part of an extended family. I think it's the people, not only the clients, but the team. Obviously, I work with my actual family, my sister, and our designer, who has been with us so long that she feels like another sister. So I think definitely it's all of the people that we get to interact with for me.
Kylie, what do you love?
So I really like the being my own boss is really nice. So I think for you know, especially as trying to be a working mom, that's really nice. Not everybody has that luxury, but it does come with a lot of responsibility of, you know, you don't actually get to work less. You just get to flex your hours when you have to. You work more. But I mean, I like I've said, I love the creative side. So I really love coming together and coming up with beautiful things and seeing results come together. And then it's just fun to try new things and watch it work, or sometimes it doesn't work, but it's fun when things start to take off and you start to feel like, oh man, okay, all of our plans are coming together. So that's kind of the leading side of it that I like. But I could say that there's hard things about all those things too.
We did have a question that came in from our participants this morning. So do either of you have any tips for starting a business?
I can go first, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure Sarah, you have some. Tips for starting a business. I mean, we started plenty of businesses before we left our other jobs or our other things. So I think it's figuring out if there's where the need is and getting good at it. So we didn't quit our other jobs or start our business until we had a good solid product that we had tested with lots of different people. And when we'd gone to lots of different markets, we were selling it on Etsy before we launched it as a brand. So I think we had some confidence in how it would go, but yeah, I think setting it up and having a plan from the beginning, like, okay, where do I want this business to go? What do I really want to accomplish? And then trying to map that out. You will not map it out correctly at the beginning, but you know, in our business, we just were like, oh shoot, everybody loves earrings. Let's just make a ton of earrings. And so then later we had to figure out, gosh, where do we want this to go? What's the long-term goal for this? And as soon as you want to get other people involved in helping you build your business or just grow or just do anything you're trying to accomplish, you have to know what it is you want to do. So I think it's just figuring out, what do I really want to do? Is there an audience for it? And then talk to lots of people. We didn't talk to enough people. We didn't ask enough questions from other business owners and get a lot of advice. So anybody you know that owns a business, they can tell you something. It doesn't matter if it's, you want to sell earrings, but they sell roofing. Like there's so many of the same problems. So just talk to people that you know, and you'll find more, as you go along. So.
Sarah, what would you like to add?
Kylie hit the nail on the head. I think it's talking to people and learning as much as you can about things that you wouldn't even thought about when you own a business that you might have to encounter. And just saying, have a plan, but the plan's never going to work. You're never going to stick to it. It's going to be ever evolving. But really learning, using resources, chambers of commerce are great resources for, starting a business. Just, find a mentor, find somebody that maybe has gone down the same path as you, or somebody that you respect in business, and, pick their brain. I think that's, probably a good, and then get all your ducks in a row with, legal, finance, that's all going to be really important, that you have the foundation for your business set.
I think it would be very interesting in today's times to start a business, especially with so many co-working environments and that sort of thing, at least pre-pandemic. I know a lot of people have shifted that office modality, but I could see that being very valuable, having someone else, like we were talking about, not proofreading, but bouncing ideas or something like that along the way, just to kind of see what's worked for them and how that can help too. So we did have another question that came in. So what's the hardest thing about marketing? I think Kylie wants to tackle it. I see it.
Oh boy. I think just the fact that things are always changing so much, and you get one thing figured out and then it doesn't work anymore in a month, and that's just frustrating. So I think just being open to that and knowing that that's what's going to happen, is that things are going to change. So what can we learn from it? And I think, customer habits change. And, we had one style of earring that we sold for several years. It was our teardrop shape. And part of the intention of only selling that shape was like, okay, gosh, we want this to be our look. Like, if anybody else is going to make these, like, at least everyone's going to think they're Nichols and Suede. Like, we're going to be the Kleenex of tissues. But then over that next few years after that, it was so much work to set up a business, which is, like the payroll or the taxes or the scheduling people or different things like Sarah was talking about. Like, there's just so many things about setting up a business to make sure it can continue to keep running that took a lot of time. And so in that time of setting up a business and learning how to set up people and have other people help us, we didn't innovate our earrings very much. And so we felt like we lost some of the interest or excitement around our product, which didn't feel fair, because I was freaking setting up a business. Like, my product can't go out of style while I'm over here doing the business work. And so then we just had to like level set and say, okay, gosh, like now we have to like full steam innovate and create new products and catch up on that. And that's not just marketing, but just, the way people shop, what's trending, what looks good, what's cool, like that changes so fast. And I know that doesn't surprise any teenagers, because they're like, yeah, we know that you guys went out of style real fast. But we're like, adults are just not cool. But it just is funny how like just things change so much. And then, you think you got Instagram figured out, and then TikTok happens. And then as soon as you guys think you have TikTok figured out, something else is going to come at you, and it's going to make you really uncomfortable, and you're going to have to figure that out too. So I think every single time something changes, the problem is it's out of our comfort zone. And so then we're like resistant to go into it. We don't want to. And then if we don't, like we get behind. Like, you have to, especially in marketing, like if you want to stay in front of people and you want to stay interesting, you literally have to constantly be out there on that edge. And if you're in marketing full time, then that may be something that maybe Sarah doesn't have as hard of a time with that, but I have a hard time with that because I'm trying to do so many other things at the same time, which is entrepreneurship. But you're an entrepreneur.
Yes, Sarah, so what do you think the hardest part is?
Kylie's exactly right on all of that. But I think from another level for us too is that a lot of times marketing is the first thing that gets cut when there are budget crunches. And so even though it shouldn't be one of the first things, because if you're not marketing, then how are you going to be out there selling, your product or your service? So fortunately for us, a lot of our clients are really smart like that and don't cut their marketing budget. But in the past, there have been, times where that is one of the first things that gets cut. So always creating value and always determining and sharing that value with clients, with your customers, with whoever you're doing marketing work for is always important. It's kind of like, what have you done for me lately? Because you don't want to be on the chopping block when budget cuts start. So making sure that the marketing is always fresh and it's working and that, it's achieving what it's meant to, can help with that. But yeah, I'd say sometimes, thinking about budgets getting cut is probably a tough road in marketing.
Good call. Oh, you're muted, Amy.
That's very true. I'm sure that, through, people working from home and through a pandemic and all of, our interests and things changing, I'm sure budgets are definitely something that is constantly evolving where you got to put the money in the right places to keep going. I wish that we could stay all day, but I don't want to infringe on your time too much. So I will go ahead and wrap it up. But we just do want to remind everyone that we are so grateful to have both of you to speak to us. And we will have a recording of this available on our YouTube channel. So to find out more about information on educational programs and career opportunities related to the industry we discussed today, please be sure to visit www.nebaworkskc.org. That's NEBA workskc.org. And be sure to register for our future events. And thank you so much, ladies. And I hope you each have a great rest of your day.
Great, thank you.